Hey, what's up everybody? How to Tech here, bringing you a disassembly of a Nexus 5X. Just got this today, so let's christen it by opening up and see what's on the inside here. We're going to use a small Phillips screwdriver. This is a 00, a nylon spudger, an additional couple opening tools. Something with a kind of an edge will help you on this. Guitar picks will get you started, and then we'll need a SIM card opening tool as well. Let's go ahead and pop out the SIM card tray on the side of the device. Make sure your device is powered off, although trying to open the device you'll probably accidentally power it back on. So what we're going to do to get this started, this back is really on there pretty good, much better than some of the other snapped-on plastic back phones. So we're just going to use our nylon tool, the SIM card slot, and kind of edge our way in there and work our way down the backside. So you can see the pressure from my hand just powered the phone back on. Not that big of a deal, but just be careful with it a little bit. So we're just working our way around this side and trying to get the whole side off before we move around to the corners here. So I'm just pressing in and then kind of pulling up a little bit with this opening tool. The same thing across the top, and the shorter distances across the top and the bottom, the clasps are a little bit harder to get off. Just a little bit less rigidity, or actually more rigidity in the plastic going around the side. So we can't snap this corner off and work our way down this side. You do want to be careful around the power button and the volume button. We don't want to damage those. So I switched up my tool there for one that's not bent. I bent the corners on that other one. So just working our way down, trying to get these unsnapped, just being gentle around that volume and power button. And right here we missed a snap, so we're just going to go back. Alright, I'm just going to power this off again. Alright, now we can kind of pull it back a little bit. We got it pretty well started. We got a snap up here still sitting, looks like. Alright, once you have that done, you can kind of just pull off the bottom. Don't want to crack where the USB port sits. Alright, so you see the interior of the phone, all of the backing here for the antennas, and you can see that the fingerprint scanner is part of this back portion here as well. So we're going to undo all of these 10 screws. We have 4 across the bottom and then 6 across the top. Go ahead and get started on that. We'll take all 10. Now I get the fact that a lot of people don't want to see this and you want to skip past it. The goal is to show you how long it took me to disassemble this device. This one's pretty quick though. 8 minutes and 38 seconds isn't too bad to do a full disassembly. And you can actually make it a little bit shorter if you cut out some of the talking. So, you know. Now, if you want to see future disassembly videos, go ahead and subscribe to me. If you find this video helpful, hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions about this repair, hit me up in the comments. And I do my best to get back to everybody. If you have any questions about where to get parts or tools, hit me up and I'll do my best to respond to you. Now, if you really want to help me out, share this with your friends. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you can. The more views, the more phones I can get, the more disassembly videos there are. So I'd appreciate you helping me out. Alright, so now we've got all 10 screws removed. And we're going to go ahead and just try to pry this back off. This one's a little bit trickier than probably the 4 or possibly even the 5. It's on there pretty solid. So we're just going to look for a place we can get our tool in. It basically just snaps on just like the back did. Some of the snaps are a little bit trickier. The bottom portion has a kind of a clasp against the battery portion. So we're going to come back to that in a second here and see if we can't do that last. It's a little bit easier to take off if you pull that portion off last. We're just going to work our way up the side here. We're making pretty good progress on this. Now we're being careful. I'm not dipping my tool in too far because we're right next to the logic port, so you don't want to ding that, any of the connectors on there. And this snap right here is a real pain on this particular phone. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same way on yours, but mine just did not want to come out. So I'm going to put my pry tool up and underneath and give it some pressure against it, see if we can pop it out with this guitar pick here. Let's pry against the snap and see if we can't get it to pull out. And it just does not want to cooperate. Alright, well, let's come back to that one. Let's snap off this other side and see if that'll help us get back to it. There we go. See, we got it snapped off right there. Alright, so now we're going to move the back portion off of this. And this will include the loudspeaker, and the fingerprint sensor will come off with this back shielding here. So down here at the bottom, still being a little bit tricky. I don't want to pry right on top of the logic board. The screen display connector is just right underneath this, right above the battery. Or sorry, right below the battery. So we're just going to be a little bit careful as we stick our spudger in. I'm not putting a lot of force in it. We're just going to try to twist it just a tiny bit and get it to pop off. There we go. So you can see there's a little connection right there next to, right below the battery. So you can see the fingerprint sensor actually hits a bunch of connectors right above the left side of the battery there. Here's our charge port, USB-C, which is actually 2.0 speed, which is kind of disappointing, but hey, at least it's reversible. Nothing worse than sticking your charge port in backwards in the dark. So we're going to go ahead and remove all of these ribbon cables, the cameras, the battery, and the display cable down here at the bottom. We're just going to gently twist it, and it'll pop up just like a button on a pair of jeans. Do the same thing with the camera, the front-facing camera. And I forgot about the battery, but I'll get back to it here in just a second. So we're just going to twist it. There's a little connector right here at the top of the logic board below the camera that you need to pull down. We'll pop this battery connector off, and that'll free the logic board out. So if you pull it back just gently and then pull up, the logic board will pop right out for you. Alright, so now we can get to some of the internal bits. We're just going to pop this camera out. So just using my spudger here and prying up against it, just being gentle. That'll go ahead and pull the camera out. We have a front-facing camera, which actually adhered in there better. It's got some adhesive around the inner circle around it, so we're just going to use our pry tool to kind of push against it and see if we can't edge it out just a little bit. We can pop that out as well. You can see the adhesive still in there. Let's pop the battery out. Now you can use your nylon spudger and go in right here on the side, but really what works better is a flat tool, so like a putty knife or something like that. Pull up on the side here, not being extremely forceful, just going to pull it up nice and gently here with my hands, pull back on the adhesive, and pull it out without having to bend that battery too much. We can also take out the vibration sensor here if you have something a little bit pointier, like a dental pick. Now you don't have to pull all this stuff out unless you're switching out the frame of the display, which I would suggest doing rather than doing just the display. Sometimes putting the tape in here can be a little tricky. We can do the same thing with the earpiece speaker and then the headphone jack as well. Now, like I was saying, if you want to see how to remove this, you're just going to heat it up and then pull it off with playing cards or guitar pick. Actually, hey, it will be exactly like the Nexus 5, so you can check out my Nexus 5 display removal if you want to see how that's done. Also, you can remove the volume button and power button on here, so if they get broken or sticky, you can clean them. Just pull them back and then pull them off their little studs here, and that'll let you replace it. Now, you can't replace the power button itself because that's actually part of the logic board. Unless you have some mad soldering skills, that's kind of a tricky thing to do. So, and really that's the disassembly of this phone, not a lot to it. If you found the video helpful, hit that like button. As always, I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.